What's up, guys? Today I have another music theory related video for you, and this one is about polyrhythms. So we're going to be looking at two things today. Number one, what is a polyrhythm? And two, how can someone use a polyrhythm when they're composing music or working on their recorded material? A polyrhythm is essentially two or more conflicting rhythms occurring at the same time within a bar or a section. And usually when you think of polyrhythms, you think of rhythms that don't necessarily line up. For instance, a 3 groove, like a triplet feel over a 4/4 typical pattern, or maybe kind of a 5 or pentuplet feel over a 4/4 pattern. If you just have basic 16ths over 8ths over quarters, it's not really a polyrhythm feel because they're all just going to keep lining up on the beat. You're not going to have that kind of offbeat sound that you associate with a polyrhythm. So now we're going to head over to the DAW and take a look at how to use this concept and take a section of music and make it sound more interesting.
Okay guys, so here we are in the GarageBand session with a snippet of a metal song I'm working on, and this is going to be the example we're going to use when we talk about polyrhythms. So when we look at this song, there's a 4/4 portion, a part that has kind of a triplet. It's in 4/4, but you could think of it as like a 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 feel, and then a 4/4 section at the end. And let's just give this example a listen. So, as it stands, there are no polyrhythms in it. Pretty much the drums are just parroting what the guitars do. It's got a 4 feel where the 4 feel occurs, and it does the 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, bit over the riff here. And it all locks in, and it sounds good. There's nothing objectively wrong with what we have going here. However, we might want to spice it up because when this riff comes back around, it's always good to alter it to keep it interesting. And we're going to alter it by adding a polyrhythm to this 6th section between measures 2, or within measures 2 and 3 of the riff. And the way we're going to implement the polyrhythm is adding a groove that is centered around the kick and the bass. And I hear this trick done a lot in modern metal, and it's one of my favorite ways to compose polyrhythms. Having guitars, playing some crazy riff in one kind of rhythmic feel, in this case a 6 feel, and then maybe putting, a quarter note triplet feel or a pentuplet feel on the bass and the drums. It's really cool to kind of separate the two and have the bass and drums accenting a different rhythm while the guitars do their thing. So let's jump over to the second example where we have implemented a polyrhythm in the two measures we just talked about. In this case, we're using a pentuplet sound, so like a 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 type of vibe. So I'll play it, and then we'll talk about how you can write these polyrhythms. So as you can see, that sounds pretty cool. It gives it a kind of offbeat sound because you're pushing that 5 against 4 rhythm against the 6 triplet sound. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, kind of a 6/8 feel with this 1 2 3 4 5 5/4 feel. So it's a really cool juxtaposition between the two. And now the way I usually go about writing these polyrhythms is listening to the riff and then just trying to clap what is almost like a new quarter note. So you might do something like this with the click track on. Maybe you can get like a quarter note triplet sound, like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 break. And I'll literally do that. I'll sit there and either clap it on my hands, or I'll be hitting my knee as I'm listening to the song. It looks pretty silly, but next step would be I bring up a MIDI keyboard and I'll just try to tap out that central rhythm. Usually that'll be like the start of the kick drum. And then with like odder rhythms like quarter note triplets and pentuplets, I always will implement use some quantize, just because I like things to sound really perfect. And when you're doing MIDI programming, why not just have something sound really, really solid? Also, it can be really difficult to tap a perfect pentuplet or quintuplet or tap quarter note triplets. They're kind of odd and unnatural rhythms that you don't practice a lot or hear a lot in just regular music. So as you can see, when we select the legendary kick, I have a 5/4 tuplet. So that's how I'm getting the So that's how I'm achieving a very solid version of that sound. And if I was doing a quarter note triplet, I could simply jump down into my quantization menu and select a quarter note triplet. And see right there, that would also be kind of an interesting polyrhythm. It wouldn't be as... I chose to do a 5 against that 6 pattern, so it really sounded, like two different rhythms, because that 5 pattern and that 6 pattern are going to clash, but in kind of a cool way. But here, let's see what it sounds like in this variation. So there's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of instead of the 6/8 pattern with the riff, it's like a quarter note triplet. I don't know, 6/4 pattern maybe. Anyway, that's just my basic method for creating polyrhythms and spicing up riffs. I'll basically try to establish a new quarter note and then use quantization to kind of help shape the riff before I go in and add my snare and my bass. And then obviously linking those just kind of solid bump, 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 just bass hits up with the kick, you can really drive that rhythm home, and it creates a cool juxtaposition. So yeah, definitely give this method a try, sit down with a riff and just see how many cool rhythms you can come up with, because after all, it's music, and whatever sounds good and whatever sounds cool, that's what you should go with. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more music related content. Peace.